I'm in stereo this evening. But I'm not going to be whispering that much. Maybe a little bit, but in general, probably not. Hi, everybody. Thank you for dropping by, and please let me know if the sound is too loud or too soft, or if my voice is not synced or whatever. Always worried about that because I've been bitten in the past, and you know what they say, fool me once, you don't want to get fooled twice. Hi, everybody. My throat just made a weird noise. Sound is fine, thank you. You can't see it here, but just out of view I have my microphonic sound box, and I have a bunch of stuff to make noises with, but there is more to tonight's stream than that. So first, obviously I just wanted to say I hope everyone is doing well and managing to get by as best they can, you know, given whatever your circumstances are. I know some people's circumstances are really dire, and obviously one of the things that this situation has exposed is the lie. It's sort of put paid to the lie of us not being able to do things about the caste system or helping those in need, or the idea of socialized medicine or some degree of socialized medicine. So I'm hoping that we get something out of that. I'm speaking broadly here about the United States. Most other or a lot of other countries seem to have their shit together more so than we do. Or, you know, that's a bit of an overstatement too, right? I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm happy that I live in the United States. The United States has afforded me, you know, lots of opportunities that I wouldn't have anywhere else. So, but given the richness of the country and the resources available to the country, we should be doing a lot better, and we're not. And that's sad. So I hope that, I mean, if you're, I gotta presume that if you're well enough to be watching this silly thing, that you're at least secure. I hope you're not sick. If you are sick, I hope very, very much that you recover. And if you're not sick, I hope you don't get sick, and do not politicize mask wearing. Just wear masks. Let's just do it. It's fun. And yes, I do realize that there is a sort of racial privilege there, and there's too many rabbit holes coming up 5 minutes in. Let's see. Wait, I want to see what. All right. It's okay? Is it all right? Katharina Eisenhuber? Hello, Katharina Eisenhuber. I will be looking at comments and stuff in a bit, but I wanted to take care of a few things first. To sort of set the tone for this live stream, I wanted to read a quick passage from Jean Améry on suicide from his book, Jean Améry on suicide. Jean Améry was, a thinker, a writer, Holocaust survivor. He chose to take his own life when he was 78, I believe. He wrote this book the year prior to that. So looking at, he has a level of insight that I think, is lacking both in sort of the layman's contemplations of suicide and then even the philosophers, those who officiate the art of philosophy. I think he even has something above, what most philosophers have when they think about this stuff, because he saw the worst, arguably, the worst mankind has to offer. And he survived it and lived many years afterwards. I think he committed suicide in the 90s, early 90s or late 80s. But anyway, in the chapter, How Natural is Death, he says, we need to bear in mind that we are all mortal, regardless of whether we have already heard the whir of the scythe over our head or not. We know about death. Psychologists think that such knowledge commences around the 6th or 7th year of life, after the subject has succinctly posited itself as an ego. So know that you are a person. This knowledge becomes more intense each year, getting its own feet, as it were. Humans live, therefore, beyond the evasions they organize for their self-defense, in a steadily crystallizing knowledge of death. They're like a man, oh my gosh, I lost my place. They're like a man who builds a house, knowing that it will be demolished at the roofing ceremony. It's pretty dark, and I think he's got like a little follow-up where he's basically like, the executioner's blade is already falling. Isn't it better to beat the blade that guillotines us all to the punch? To escape with a no that brings all rejoinders to silence. So if you're quarantined and you're looking for sort of a light read, and let me recommend Jean Améry's on suicide. In fact, his entire oeuvre. Oh my God, words are stupid. I always get reminded of, I don't know what this was from, but something where somebody was saying a word that didn't exist, and somebody called them on it and said, that word's made up, and the response was, all words are made up. Yeah, so with that, sort of setting the tenor of tonight's live stream, guys, don't get too excited. I'm sorry, not guys, people, humans, don't get too excited, but, thinking about reading a few aphorisms from E.M. Cioran's On the Heights of Despair a little later, so you can look forward to that. All right, so now I'm going to take a quick break and look at comments and see if there's any questions or or quests or any of that kind of thing. Oh gosh, I can't. Y'all talk a lot. All right, I'm going to go down to the bottom. Erver. Okay, so I guess I should clarify something. I'm not espousing self-murder. I do think that it is something that everybody thinks about, and it's important to whether you embrace those thoughts as thoughts, not as what you're going to do, but just sort of explore the thought itself or the thoughts themselves. I think that's important, and I don't really feel like it's overly moribund. I think it's important to know yourself. And I think it's important to, I also do think that it's important to realize that, for some people, sort of self-murder is the only way out, right? And that they should have the freedom to do. Matter of fact, I got all sorts of really, really are these nihilistic? Are these pessimistic? I personally think they're just realistic, but I think people should have the option. So like They Shoot Horses, don't they? By Horace McCoy. Which I love the message this book has, but it hasn't aged very well, because it's largely about an all-night dance competition on the beach, which, I don't know, does that kind of thing resonate with anybody anymore? That's definitely sort of a 50s kind of thing. But if you could put that aside, I think at one point I said reading this book, it's kind of like the Depressives version of Footloose. But the protagonist, is it the protagonist? One of the protagonists of this book, Gloria Beatty, has a line which I find pretty apt. So I'll read that too. It's peculiar to me, she says, that everybody pays so much attention to living and so little to dying. Why are these high-powered scientists always screwing around, trying to prolong life instead of finding pleasant ways to end it? There must be a hell of a lot of people in the world like me who want to die but haven't got the guts. Because if you do get to that sort of dark place where there is no other outlet for you, and I'm talking about if you have exhausted every possible every possible alternative repeatedly, over and over again, I think you probably have to be, just as a ground rule, you have to be over 40. You're not allowed to consider it, even if you're under 40. But if you do get to that place, wouldn't it be nice? And so I guess there's this fear of if there was an easy Futurama style suicide, but although that thing was pretty horrific, getting corkscrewed and stabbed to death. If there was an easy out, more people would take it. So, but I can see that point, and I don't disagree with that point. But I also think that the solution is not always just life at all costs, right? There is a cost-benefit analysis that needs to be done at some point, where you determine it would be better if this person was allowed to do what it is that they want to do and have consistently wanted to do and get them out of the pain that they're having. And if there was a way to do that that was as humane as possible, right? I just think that should be, I think that should exist. That's all I'm saying. In some form. All right. Let's see. This is what the hell am I doing? My watching numbers I'm seeing them dwindle before me as I say these things. I apologize. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I don't approach this subject in any sort of light or glib way, and lots of people have experience with it, and I have experience with it. I'm not saying my experience is more or less than any other person's, but I do think I at least have at least as valid as opinion as anybody else does. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. The ecosystem. So you just said that suicide is selfish. There's always people who love you and who you will hurt for eternity. You won't hurt them for eternity. They'll always carry it. I mean, but they will also die. So I guess maybe if I were coming up with like a list of how this could be done, it would be, you can't be under 40 and you can't have dependents, right? Like, I don't think that a parent should commit suicide. That is the worst of the worst. So I don't agree with that. I mean, I think it is definitely, I mean, it's selfish. Yeah, it's a selfish act. It's something you're doing because you're in so much pain that you can't see another way out. So, so then you either go on living for somebody else, or you do what you feel like you need to do. So here's another good point, I think. Howling madness. I never asked to be born. Isn't it selfish to force me to keep living when I'd rather have never existed at all? I think this is the prime question, right? Is like, in order for you to consider your own demise, you have to have already been born. And there are people who will say things like, well, if you dislike life so much, then why don't you just end it all, right? But I don't think there's anything hypocritical in wishing that you were never born, but not killing yourself, right? Like your wish would be that you were never born, but you were born, so you can't get past that. Let's see. Here's an easy one. Do I believe in the afterlife? No, I don't. I believe that we can try and find comfort in whatever way that we would like. It's an interesting. That's interesting. That sort of brings me to here. I'm gonna read something else real quick here. So I'm in the middle of writing something for a proper video. Although I don't. Like, in doing these, I'm starting to wonder what a proper video is, because I will like do a live stream, or I will do a regular video. A regular video will take me much longer to do. I'll often do them and then not publish them. I feel like if I can get to a place where live streaming is close to in quality to a regular video. Maybe that's where I need to focus. I promise you, I'm not going to be talking about suicide much longer. Just wanted to bring it up. But no, I don't believe in the afterlife in any way. Let me read something that I was working on that might give you a little insight into what I was thinking. So this is out of context, and this is also like just stream of consciousness, and also from the point of view of kind of a heightened character. So this is not like my regular voice or way of speaking or anything like that. Yesterday I was reading The Sick Rose in a proper reading chair. My legs were crossed because I'm not an animal, and in the course of switching which hand was holding the book, my right hand came down quite naturally, heel of my palm first, and hit the lower part of my left shin, my left leg being crossed over my right. I believe it was a tibia that was impacted, but I couldn't say with certainty. What I was certain about was the sensation which ensued. It sounded as if two solid, if thin, pieces of wood had been clacked together, and felt like my left leg was no more than a piece of bamboo long dried in the sun. The impact reverberated up my leg almost to the knee. The leg thrummed like the end of a diving board whose diver had yet to break the surface of the water. The sensation was so peculiar that I slammed my palm into my leg again to recreate it. The effect was easy enough to reproduce, but the sensation itself was unnerving. It was so bizarre, it momentarily disconnected me from my body. It made me starkly, if transiently, aware of the ridiculousness of this contraption we almost universally accept as our physical self. Why am I telling you this? What makes it notable? I believe it's important to have these revelations from time to time, these bits of frayed fabric, if just to remind ourselves of two things. One, we are not luminous beings. If anything, we are ludicrous beings. And two, when presented with any reality for a sufficiently long time, we will come to accept it as natural and normal, and eventually find it impossible to imagine reality existing any other way. It is the second realization that is of lasting importance, for it all but assures the subsequent thought that the way things are is the way that they're supposed to be. And if things are the way they're supposed to be, then having them any other way would represent a divergence from a plan. And there you are, once the idea of a plan is in place, religion and the self, two very dangerous ideas that spoil countless lives, if indeed any life can be spoiled, are fait accompli. So jar yourself from your rut for a moment. Think about the predicament all human life finds itself in. We share a common origin and terminus. We are almost all aware of this fact, and while we can do some small things to prolong our tenure, we mostly careen through life with no control until we slam into the invisible wall. I had some bearing on something, though I'm not 100% sure what it was. Okay, I'm going to look at some comments again here, see what's going on. Hey, this is interesting. I actually just started watching Alana Joan, and you made me laugh prior to the start of the stream. The ending of the last season of The Good Place. So I've just started watching it. Like, I had some trouble thinking that I might like it or not. I had trouble getting into it, right? I had trouble getting into the idea of getting into it, I guess, would be more accurate. But I've started watching it. I haven't gotten very far, though, so I don't... I'm still in season 1, so... I'll answer this one again. I did do a Rick Grimes ASMR, but it didn't turn out very well. and I abandoned it. So, don't know if I'm gonna do it again. Let's see. Jeffrey Ryan. If no plan, then why would there be any need for any revelations at all? If that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what the question is. If you could rephrase that, that would be great. Are you saying that? Are you saying that if there's no plan, then why? Then who cares about revelations? Because I agree with that, but I'm not 100% sure if that's what you're saying or not. Oh, hey. It's ASMR Muzz. I think. What is it? The Scottish, is that new? I'm not sure if that's new. I wonder, is this a valid account? I thought it was just ASMR Muzz, but assuming that you are who you say you are, hi. How are you doing? Kit saying she had a lot of problems with Good Place. Yeah, I won't know until I see the rest of it. Am I on acid? I look like I'm on acid. I'm really thirsty. I'm so thirsty. Oh my God. I'm not on acid. But thank you. Hi, Grace. Oh, you're not saying hi to me. Oh, well, say hi to you anyway. Oh, and here's Leah. Yeah, this is something that I'm planning on doing, but I say that I'm planning on doing it. However, I have been planning on doing it for a really long time, and I haven't done it yet. So, I don't want to make any promises. Hi, Sweet Pea. Have I ever read the novel Wicked by Gregory Maguire? I don't think so. It's not ringing a bell. I've seen the Broadway show. I assume that's not what you're talking about. Oh, look at this. Yes, Kate Bush fan. Yes, Orbit the World. Fellow Kate Bush fan. Then I gotta put, this guy up. I don't know how to, NFUK, but I don't know how to say it, but hi. Oh, and good, this was him. And look, oh, it's ASMR Graviton Avenue. Hi, how are you doing? Everyone's saying hi to Muzz. Make me feel bad. Okay, I'll tell you. Here we go. Do you have any plans to do more collabs with Ephemeral Rift? This is a topic that I've avoided. But the answer is no. I don't have any plans. I very much admire his work, and I owe him a lot. But the answer to that is no. see what else we got here. On crack. Yeah. I wouldn't, I'm always in the opposite direction. Oh, this is very kind. Thank you, Julianne. So that I could talk a little bit about my weird and sort of nomadic situation over the 5 or 6 years that I've been doing videos. So that video was done in Miami in a hotel that used to be owned by, I believe, Pablo Escobar, called the Mutiny. It was on the Intercoastal in South Miami, Coconut Grove specifically. And apparently the cigarette boats would just come up right to the front of the hotel. The drugs would come off. They'd go through the hotel, and then they'd go to the trucks on the back of the hotel, from the back of the hotel. I'm sure I've told this story before, but I didn't realize where I was living until I had a friend over one day who saw the logo, which is like this really cute, like Disney-fied pirate logo. But saw the logo and said, "Oh my God, you live in the Mutiny." And then I apparently was on Cocaine Cowboys. But anyway, so that was filmed in an apartment there, a tiny little place. It was where right around that era was like the Negan video, the binaural doctor video, the binaural barber video. They were all shot in an area that like was so small. I actually used, like, when you came in, there was a hallway that had an immediate left turn when you came in, and I put the camera right up against one wall as you came in. You couldn't even open the front door, and it was kind of pointed on a diagonal towards the corner of this hallway. So it looked like it was pointed towards the corner of a room, but it wasn't. It was just like a hallway, and like wherever I was probably like right up against the wall, and had to like frame it exactly right so that it looked like it was a room and not a hallway. So I think about those things now, and I think about the restrictions that I had then versus the restrictions that I have now. And I feel like I was more productive when I had more restrictions, and I don't know why that is. It's almost like the challenge got to me. Okay, let's... Oh, okay, Grace said hi earlier. Hi, Grace. I'm sorry. So I really, really like the software that I'm using here. However, it's not good at telling you it's not good at making comments sticky or letting you see stuff that well. But everything else, I think it does fantastic. Let's see here. For instance, if you want to see what I'm looking at here. This is the section I just read. And yeah, so this is tied to the tracks, studying trains. So that idea sort of that thought sort of came to me, like the idea that if you're tied to train tracks and you can't escape and there's an oncoming train, like you wouldn't spend that time reading up on trains. That would be a waste. And yet we do that, when it comes to sort of, death in general. You might say, well, if there's a chance that you could derail the train or you could do something to stop the train. But, I'm saying, assuming you can't do anything to do that. And that's not even how this started. This started as the thesis was languages spread despair and increase human suffering exponentially while contributing nothing of worth to human existence. It's a pretty broad, pretty. I was probably in a bit of a mood when I wrote that. So this is like sort of in, what is this? I don't know. I like to write without thinking too much, because then I can come back to it and read it sort of as an outsider, and sometimes surprise myself, or also get to read it a little bit as if it was written by someone else, and therefore I feel like I can be a little more objective about it, if it's any good or not. And this was something that sort of got to me, that we haven't, like, the small amount of progress that we've made through 20,000 generations of humanity, and yet we're still, the same fundamental issues that people have been facing for thousands and thousands of generations that we haven't found solutions for. People are still making these discoveries over and over again. It's just happening again. We're running into the same problems, and history is repeating itself over and over and over again, and we're not really finding a way out. Let me come back. So that's one of the things I like about Ecamm, is I can kind of go back and forth between those things. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I saw the words Talos Principle. I loved that game. Where was that? Look at those pupils. So what is it about my pupils? You should know that, studio lighting means that you can't really see it right now, but like if I were to shine a bright light in your eyes, there's essentially light there, light here, light there, a light there, a couple of mood lights back here. This one, more of a, oh, I didn't turn that on. I wanted to turn that on, but anyway, so that's probably why my pupils look weird. And also I have a little bit of ptosis. I don't know if you can see it. My pupils are not exactly the same size. It's not a stroke. If it was a stroke, it happened a long time ago, because it's been that way for a very, very long time. All right, let's go through this a little bit. This was dope, but I wasn't aware of it. And I guess they didn't. Oh, look at this. This is new. So I just got a super chat. Okay. Hold on. Sorry. I just got a super chat. Thank you very, very much, Morgan. So one of the things I complained about in the last time that I used this software was that I couldn't see super chats. Like I had to just kind of catch them as they went by. But it literally, like, this software must have been updated, because now it's blinking it up in the bottom there. So I'm sorry. Let me answer this question. Thank you for being such an amazing creator and getting me through boring days at work or times I feel uncreative. Have I ever read East of Eden by John Steinbeck? Yes, I have. I've read I've read other Steinbeck books. Obviously, I'm gonna sound stupid here. Grapes of Wrath. I've read a bunch of Steinbeck. offhand, I'd probably get him confused with a few other people. Yeah, of course, Grapes of Wrath. East of Eden, Grapes of Wrath. Let's see, of his books, what books have I read? So the Grapes of Wrath is what inspired me to get into the Dorothea Lange photos, which I have a bunch of now. And I think I even maybe used one or two of them in a video as a backdrop in a video, in one video somewhere. I'm not sure which one. But that whole sort of Depression era, As I Lay Dying, that was Faulkner, wasn't it? Was that Faulkner? I'm sorry. I'm not. As I Lay Dying. No, not the band. Are you serious? This is what happens? The band comes up? Oh, that was William Faulkner. Yep. But anyway, yes, and love it, and love the other one or two books of his that I've read. I don't think I've read his stuff extensively, but thank you very much. That's very kind. Oh yeah, of Mice and Men. Yes, of course. Right. Gotta kill the slow guy. I don't know where I was, like what I was doing. But I have something. Oh, I have something I want to show you guys. I have to stop saying guys. I'm sorry. I have something I want to show you people. Kit Fox, you're right, but I also have a droopy eyelid when it comes to ptosis, or anoscoria. Anoscoria or anoscoria, whatever that's called for the uneven pupils. But I also have, like, one eyelid droops a little more. I also have slight ptosis. What was I? Oh yes, I wanna show you all something. Okay, so when I was younger, now I'm gonna warn you all now. This might get a little bit loud compared to the rest of this video, but when I was younger, well, you know, I played in a bunch of bands. Right? We were all bad. They're all bad. But in a high school for a talent show, I played in a metal band. So this would have been like the late 80s. And I actually have the video of it. I thought some of you might, I don't know how self-indulgent this is, but I'm going to play a little bit of it. I'm going to play a little bit of it, and hopefully it's not too embarrassing, and hopefully it's not too loud. So that's really my fear. So you may want to, I lowered the volume on this, but we'll see. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Okay, so sorry to pause it, but just so you all know, that's me in the black, in all the black there. So, anyway. The bell begins to chime, reflecting on the past life, and it doesn't have much time. Okay, sorry. In black, it's me on the stage left to your right, to the right side of the screen. Um, yeah, the one playing guitar. And same guitar. I don't remember. So this guitar was purchased for me by my mother when I was 15 years old. And that video, I think, was 1989. And I had fun. I didn't stay with metal that long. I ended up, I think we played, that was the first, that there was the first time we ever played like in front of people. And it sort of took me into this world where we were playing at like warehouses and just crazy places where 17-year-old or 16-year-old certainly shouldn't be allowed to be drinking and stuff. But it was fun. And then I ended up, like I said, like kind of getting out of metal and getting into 90s, more 90s, I want to say kind of indie math rock kind of stuff. Now I don't want to, I saw another super chat. I saw two. So, Boops Bucket, thank you very much. That's super, super nice. So, any recommendations for an atheist who frets over death constantly? Reading from Here to Eternity by Killian Doughty. Well, I guess that depends. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want... So you're an atheist who frets over death. Do you want to continue fretting over death? Like, is that something that you want to, like, concentrate on or not? Because if you don't, then, you know, I can't help you. I found that, like, in the past few years, I really have not read a whole lot of fiction. I mean, if a new Stephen King book comes out, I'll read it because I just feel like I have to, because I've just been reading his stuff since I was a child, right? And it's just sort of comforting. But most of what I've been reading has been either philosophy or some history. Well, I am reading right now The Room by Hubert Selby Jr., not The Room that was the movie about the mother and child who were raised in a room. But I'm liking that a lot. It's a little hard to find. If you're looking for something to so I do find that I will distract myself from thinking about the horrors of death with horror, right? And that's kind of like a well-known thing. And I have read quite a bit of Ray Russell, and I like him a lot. So I think I recommended him in my last live stream too. Haunted Castles. I think he has a short story called Sardonicus. It's a trilogy of short stories. Sardonicus, maybe Sagittarius, and they're all like similar sounding titles. And they're all very good. And there's another one back up here. Oh, yeah, Jessica, stop. You gotta stop doing that. More music. Yeah, I'm in the second hour of the live stream. I'm thinking I might play a couple things live, or as close to live as this lag is. But thank you very much for that. So, yeah, that was. I think, so from watching that video, you could tell once shoegaze came into prominence, I was very at home there because I would not move, just stare at my shoes. Let's come on down to the bottom here and see what's up. So Grace, I did read The Institute. However, I didn't love The Institute because it was just like, I felt like I was reading every other Stephen King book plus Stranger Things, right? I am reading If It Bleeds, and I'm liking that better so far. But it's short stories, so, and I like his short stories. And I also liked 11/22/63. Didn't like that, yeah. Carly F. I'm such a huge With Nell and I fan. I would love to do that. It's been on the list for a long time. If you have not seen the movie With Nell and I recommend that you see it as quickly as possible. Remedy that situation. Richard E. Grant, spectacular as the sort of tragic drug addict. Oh wow, I'm looking right now. Gosh, ooh. I'm looking at one of the largest house centipedes I've ever seen. That thing's huge. Oof. You're not supposed to kill house centipedes. They're good at taking care of other pests. But yes, Grace. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's exactly what I felt like. Yeah, this is a good one. What's something that I do to feel at peace? Being totally frank with you, I take my psychiatric medications. I'm not, I don't sort of shirk from that part of my life. I mean, I see a psychiatrist weekly. I have for, well, actually right now it's every 2 weeks, but I've been in therapy of one kind or another since I was in kindergarten, on and off, like some periods where I was off, because I couldn't afford it or whatever it was. But my father was a psychiatrist, so when I began experiencing a recurring nightmare, his response was that I should go to see a psychiatrist at the age of, I don't know, 7 or 8, something like that. So that's been a part of my life, for a long time. And some of the props that you see when I do doctor role plays, some of those were his. I have a picture of Sigmund Freud that was up in his office, the doctor bag, because he was also a surgeon prior to being a psychiatrist. And like even his little medical notebook I have, and still, is it here? Oh my God. No, I don't know where it is right now. Whoa, boy, this is what happens when you get old. Can't turn around and look at things behind you. So what do I do to feel at peace? Yeah, I mean, I do other things too. I'll watch. I have my guilty pleasure sort of movies and TV and even books. I do listen. Like I always have like a book that I'm reading and a book that I'm listening to, and I will sometimes just go outside, and just, if it's a nice day, and just kind of walk around listening to a book. And I find that like that's good for multitasking. People who like to multitask, you kind of have you have enough there. That thing is huge, man. I'm waiting on a camera switcher, by the way. So I ordered a camera switcher. I'm sorry, I'm going on all these tangents here, but so this is my main camera that I use for all of my videos generally. But if I'm going like to film something or shoot something that's not in this studio, I don't usually take this camera because it's a bit big. I'll take this, which is also, I guess, a bit big, but it is the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. Pocket, I don't know whose pocket that could fit in, but I'll take that with me. Oh boy. To shoot stuff like, just images of, like, well, for instance, that bee, that was the thumbnail for this live stream, going to creeks or whatever, just trying to get some peaceful ASMR-ish kind of footage. And I listen to ASMR to feel at peace. A lot. I don't get, as I've said before, I don't get ASMR, I don't get the tingles, but I do feel relaxed from it. See what else. Could you do any Joaquin Phoenix ASMR, especially the master? You would be amazing at. I really liked the master. I thought Joaquin Phoenix was, put Philip Seymour Hoffman really to shame in that movie. But yeah, maybe. I mean, I like playing people with screw loose like that. It's enjoyable for me. Keep going through this. Yeah, well, I mean, I do a lot of video work, and was very interested in videography prior to ASMR. Oh, hey, Ghetto ASMR. Thank you very much. You too. You as well. Wow, yeah. So Cleo, I would love to do a Paris, Texas video. Like that would be, I mean, he doesn't talk for the first half of the movie, so it would have to be the second half. But that is on my sort of top 5 favorite movies. A couple of Inventors movies are on my top 10, but that's definitely top 5. So yeah, I'm into that. J. Mars, when The Last of Us Part 2 releases, do you think you will do another ASMR as Joel? Yeah, I talked about this a little bit, I think, in the last live stream. I probably will. Probably. I don't know for sure, but I don't know what Joel's role is in The Last of Us Part 2. He appears in the trailer, but it's that sort of like, is he really there? Is she imagining that he's there and he's dead, or whatever it is? But either way, even if he's dead, I could find a way to sort of still make it work. Oh, listening to you talk is rather comforting. Another voice in the darkness makes, yeah. Thank you very much, Erebus. So for those of you who don't know, Erebus did the illustrations for the Butterflies video and did a profile picture that I use a lot. I'm not sure what platforms I'm using it on now, but certainly more than one. Super talented. Thank you. There's a weird little static noise in my left ear for some reason. Let's see if we can diagnose that. Is anybody else getting static in their left ear? I'm hearing some digital noise. Yeah, I'm hearing some digital noise. Not sure what that's coming from. Yeah. There's something that is not grounded here, or... Hold on 1 second. I apologize for this. Seems a little better now. Maybe, hopefully. Yeah, I think I have a grounding problem. I have to look into it, but not going to be able to do it for this live stream. Fast autofocus, yeah. It's, it is the reason, probably the real reason that I settled on Canon cameras for the main bulk of my work, because it's got good silent autofocus. Okay, good. It's better. So let's see, what else can we? I want to. An hour and 10 minutes. I'm gonna play you all a couple things. Yeah, or I could have played the performance video while y'all were waiting. All right. No, I am not. I'm not an actor at all. So, I'm about to do the thing that I can't stand. Like, the thing that you don't want people to do at parties, or you don't want... like, let's see. We're at like 180 watchers right now. See how quickly this falls. That dude is bringing out a guitar, run for the hills. I want to be sure I'm not overloading, so I'm going to put these on for a moment. Oh, that was probably lovely. Okay, let's see. So, most of the music that I put in videos is also music that, well, it is all. There's a couple of, I guess, exceptions where I'll go to like a music library or something, but generally it's stuff that I'll just do on my own. I might still read James Franco poetry, Kit, so don't. Well, I can't. So I won't. I can't play. Yeah, don't joke about Wonderwall. Don't tell me that I did not bring a capo. I am very angry at myself. I have to get a capo. Let's see what I can. Here, I'm gonna put this on for a minute again. Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna bring it back to you. By now you should have sold out, realize what you gotta do. And I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Actually know that song, obviously, but so a lot of the music that I do for videos is stuff that I do on my own. So like for Butterflies, it was two guitars, but it was something like that, like a riff along those lines, with different pieces coming in and out as it progressed. What other ones? So this is another one that is two guitars, so it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to do on one guitar. What Pink Floyd can I play, Ramona? mess up the last chord. That is, of course, what is on top of the wall? Is there anybody out there? I forget the actual name of it. Names of those songs. So here's one that's also usually done with 2 guitars. I have to take off my ring because it's clanking. So I'm gonna try and do this on 1 guitar, and we'll see. Like, shout out if you recognize this. Oh, thank you, Nasha. You also do this too much. I really do appreciate it. Very sweet. This one's for you. Dork. So that is, the theme to Pioneer's Lash, which was something that I came up with maybe 10 years ago, maybe more. But it does require 2 guitars to actually play right, so I'm trying to do like the... And it's not really working. And then some others, like the cabin. The vampire video. I gotta remember this one. Something like that. How about that? Oh, it's not technically Last of Us, but for Logan, I really no more spark. Once it's lost, it's gone forevermore. And if fire keeps us safe from bombs in the night, we are doomed. We bring no flint to the fight. So that was like a real, I called it Flint to the Fight, but it was really very, very close to the song that Ellie plays in the trailer for Last of Us 2. What else? What else do we got? We've got I'm out of tune. It's worse. I made it worse. I'm not sure what key this is supposed to be in. You creep me out, but I love you. Hey, Margaret, you creep me out, but I love you. M-A-R-G-A-R-E-T, Margaret. M-A-R-G-A-R-E-T, Margaret. Your curly hair and your skin so fair, oh Margaret. Excuse me, got something caught in my throat. But that was the theme song for Margaret. Which was used for a while on Améry's channel. Anyway. Okay, I don't want to overstay my welcome here. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions, anything they want me to go on a tangent about, or really, like, nothing is off, nothing is out of bounds. Let's see. Trans rights. I'm a big fan of Booker DeWitt. I'm a big fan of the BioShock games in general. So, I don't know. It just those require a lot of prep and a lot of, like, props. I think to do it justice, it would require a lot of that. So I'm maybe a little reluctant there. But apart from that, I would be happy to do it. Did I see Perfume? No, I didn't. But I'm a very big fan of Perfume Genius. I play Queen all the time. I think it's a great song. Dark Parts. I don't know. I don't know a lot of the names of the songs, but I know the parts of the songs that I like. Right. It's my favorite Poe story. That's not as easy a question as you might think at first. Now, I'm curious. I'm bringing my phone back over here, and I'm wondering if the static is going to come back. Let's see. Oh, it's probably Mask of the Red Death. Although he had, I remember he had, I mean, I liked House of Usher. Murders in the Rue Morgue, because I'm a sucker for a mystery. There was one that I remember that was pretty, it was not very well known, that I really enjoyed. Was it The Purloined Letter? No, it was not. No, although I liked that too. I'm going to stick with Mask of the Red Death. I mean, Cask of Amontillado is fantastic, but, that's a lot of people's answer. Static came back? Oh my gosh. Static came back. And wait, I got super chat. Brandon Carlson. Hey, P.S. Been with you since I ran across the Witcher Geralt ASMR video quite some time ago. Love what you do. Do you have a favorite roleplay that you've done? Okay, so one, thank you very much, Brandon. Two, I'm glad that we seem to have nailed down what the problem was with the static. Although I'm not thrilled that I can't have my phone near me. I like my phone. My favorite roleplay. The roleplays that I had the most fun doing were not like they weren't big. I did have fun doing the Joker, but I really enjoyed. I did a couple of videos as like this southern ne'er-do-well character out of a Cormac McCarthy novel. I did one that I think is called just ASMR from a character in any Cormac McCarthy novel, and one that was called The Texan and the Pederast, which was buried for obvious reasons, I think. But those were the ones that I actually enjoyed doing the most, the process of actually making them, because there were no expectations, and they were extemporaneous. They were not, I didn't have to worry about getting canon right. I didn't have to worry about, like, I liked the way the sort of harsh lighting set up. I enjoyed a lot about both of those, and we'll probably do more of them again. Although I've cut my hair, which makes it a little bit. I can still have the clip-in extensions that I was using, but that was the one that those are the ones that I had the most fun doing. Thank you so much, Brandon. Um, yeah. So, so I'm gonna do this once more. Like I really, this would be great if this is true, right? Here's my phone. Bringing my phone in. I'm doing some stuff on it. Let's see, yeah. I'm gonna text. I'm gonna text my. Testing the static. So I am doing sending messages with the phone. Did the any new digital noise? No, I don't know. What there was. Yeah, I mean, I know that obviously wireless devices interfere with some wired devices, but my cables are supposed to be very shielded. They're supposed to be able to, and it's back. Okay, great. That's great. Thank you for helping me nail down what was causing the problem. But only in the left ear, which makes me think I'm just going to have to check that out. Okay, cool. Thank you all. Somebody asked me a question up here I wanted to get to. Lirio del Agua, something of the water. How do you measure the success of a particular video? Views, feedback from other creators, comments, etc. Generally, it is comments from people I respect. It can be creators or not, right? That's not. It's just got to be. If it's someone that I respect and they like it, that's what does it for me. I mean, I get a little bit. I share. I can't lie and say that I don't get frustrated if there's something that I've done that I really like or am personally attached to, and it doesn't seem to gain traction. But that's like a secondary thing. I'm trying not to feel that way or do that. Grace, what have I been up to for the last couple of months during lockdown? Any advice for people stuck at home and having a hard time of it? Yeah, I've been working from home, so I'm fortunate in that way, in that my job has not yet been affected. So I do work regular hours, but when I'm not working, I remember, thinking how great it was going to be to finally have the time without dealing with traffic and like just this extra time to be able to do all these things that I wanted to do, and all these things that I would always like blame other things for, like other people or other situations, and it was a bunch of if onlys. And the truth was that the obstacle to all of those things was me, and having all the time in the world, just like having all the space in the world, which I don't have all the space in the world, but I have a lot more space now than I did, for instance, when I was in Miami, and the equipment is better. I couldn't live stream like this, before. My computer is better. Everything is better. Like I was editing on a laptop that would crash, almost every other time I would render something out. That was more, and now like moving to 4K, just like it was a nightmare. And I would always be like, oh, if only I had the ability to do this, and a lot of those obstacles I have been able to overcome, but only to find out that, lo and behold, those aren't really the things that were stopping me from doing stuff. And if I really want to do stuff, the obstacle is me. I mean, I used to shoot videos after work, late at night. I wouldn't even start until midnight. I would go until 3 in the morning, and go to work, wake up at 7 to go to work. When I really wanted, if I really wanted to do it, I could do it. So, part of me has to kind of reconcile myself with the fact that maybe the fire isn't quite there anymore. Or I haven't found the right thing. I often get very excited about particular things, and then I get amped up to do them. It helps. For me, like the ASMR community is sort of a double-edged sword. Like, it helps to have that, because they can, spur you on and sort of, if you're not feeling motivated, help you get motivated, or maybe you do some stuff for other people or with other people. Like, that's always been something that motivates me. My advice, I wish I had advice for people stuck at home and having a hard time of it. It would be so, I feel like I can't even give that advice. It would be hypocritical of me. And I think that this is affecting everybody uniquely. Everybody's circumstances are very unique. You may have just moved to a new town and don't have a support network around you. You may have lost your job, right? You may have gotten sick. It may be very hard for you to see the light at the end of the tunnel without thinking that it's a train. And I go through that stuff as well, probably not to the extent that some people do, and I'm probably somewhere in the middle of the pack there. My advice, I guess, would be to immerse yourself in reading. Try and get motivated to do the thing. Find something that you love to do that you can do by yourself, and do that. However, again, like I have a thing that I supposedly love, and I have the time to do it, and yet I'm not that. I don't feel that compelled to do it. It's almost like I'm more compelled to do it when there are obstacles preventing me from doing it. When it's more of like I'll show you, I'm gonna do this, even though I don't have the space or the time to do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. Then you give me the space and the time, and that challenge is kind of gone. And I don't know, man. I'm just figuring this out. I'm not 50 yet. Maybe when I hit 60, I'll have some answers for something. But I hope that you're doing well, Grace, and everybody else too. Who finds himself having a hard time of it, because different people adjust to this stuff in different ways. Oh, thank you, Basement Dweller. So now that one didn't pop up. So I don't know. This thing seems to be sporadic. I just want to say thanks for making the Lighthouse roleplay. You're so welcome. I mean, I want to say it was a delight, but it was actually a bit of an albatross, because I had sort of broadcasted that I was going to do it. And I broadcasted that I was going to do it a long time ago, like right when the movie came out. And then I was sort of I felt myself in a situation where I had to do it. And then I didn't want to because I had to, right? So that's that stupid thing that happens there. But I will say that I did actually enjoy the shooting of that video a lot. Sometimes I don't. Like sometimes I really don't. I'm doing it and I'm sort of going by the book and I'm just trying to muddle through, and it doesn't always, I don't always get caught up in it, but I did get caught up in that one. Sound videos. What do I consider art? I mean, anything can be art, right? I know when it comes to like, excuse me, the kinds of videos that I consider art, I'm just going to be like repeating the same stuff that I repeat all the time. I feel like there are people who are craftspeople, and artists, and I consider myself more of a craftsperson than an artist. And the people who do like true art, I see it and I can't even imagine where it comes from or like how they thought of it, you know. A really sort of juvenile litmus for me is like, if I see something and think I could have done that, then I don't tend to respect it as much. I really like the stuff that I can't understand how it was done or how it was arrived at. There's a good analogy here, since there was a Pink Floyd song earlier. You know, there's two Pink Floyds. There's the Pink Floyd when Syd Barrett was in it, which was the chronicle of a madman chronicling his own madness. And then post Syd Barrett, there was, you know, Roger Waters chronicling descent into madness from an outsider's perspective. I love Roger Waters, by the way, but I find like the genuine madness to be more interesting. One of my long-standing favorite books is Memoirs of My Nervous Illness by Daniel Schreiber. He's like a German Supreme Court justice, I think, who realized he was going insane, admitted himself to an insane asylum, and wrote this book called Memoirs of My Nervous Illness. And it's a very difficult read. It's hard to get through. It gets more and more unhinged as you read it. But that's the kind of stuff that I like. It's one of the reasons why I like Philip K. Dick is probably my favorite sci-fi author, because that guy was teetering on the brink, and it really kind of comes through in his work. So yeah, I mean, I consider a lot of stuff art. I don't think it really. I don't know that the question is. I'm not dismissing your question, but I don't know that it's that valid to say like, is this art or is this not art? Personally, it's all subjective, right? So personally, I just like stuff that blows me away, that makes me rethink the way that I thought about things, that inspires me to want to do other things. I generally, like, when I see something that I'm impressed by, I don't get discouraged. Like, I don't get that feeling like, they're so good, you know, I can't do this. I tend to get like, oh man, that was so good. Like, I don't care if it's the tiniest little contribution. I just want to contribute a little tiny bit. I want to be a part of that. I bring probably bring this up a lot, probably bring this up too much, but like when it comes to like artistic ASMR, and I'm biased obviously, but I'm a huge fan of Ardra Neela or Ardra ASMR. Like I watch some of her videos and just I have trouble comprehending them, right? The one, she did one that unfortunately the title is, I can't say it, it's symbols, it's like a little, I don't even know what it is really, like a person peeking over it's an ASCII art symbol, but it's her coming out of this sort of black dot, and there's a soundscape kind of going on, and she's doing this sort of monologue, and then near the end of the video, she keeps going back into this black dot on this sort of white canvas, and then she comes out and she starts sort of painting with her hands, turning the dots into a tick, and that I remember seeing that like 5 years ago and just being totally blown away by it. So yeah, there you go. Do this for a few more minutes here. So who are the regular ASMR artists I listen to? Does your own ASMR ever work for you? No, never works for me. I can't. I really have trouble looking at or evaluating my own stuff in any sort of objective way. I will sometimes watch it to make sure that something wasn't messed up with it, right? But I will never watch it or listen to it and be able to fall asleep to it. My playlist now is largely River ASMR, who I think is excellent. He just has his voice is phenomenal. The breadth of things that he can talk about. He's one of those people that can just talk forever. I think about almost any subject. Again, like I watch a lot of Ardra stuff. But you know that probably doesn't count. And massage ASMR. I still like. I really should spend more time looking for new. I'm really impressed by like Atmosphere. Atmosphere, the ASMR artist Atmosphere, who also has a lot of atmosphere in her work. Obviously, like Made in France is fantastic. Like just people who push stuff. You know, I talked about this, I think, a little bit in the last live stream. I don't want to be too redundant. But then I also really appreciate the craftsmen and the people who are pushing, who, even if they're not pushing like how weird and out there, you know, the videos are, they are pushing ASMR as a medium forward. And that, you know, people, and I respect anyone who puts in a lot of work. Oh, and I'd say like Crinkle Oven just did a video, an ASMR video of Faith No More song, which was just, I thought that was brilliant. So, you know, you have the people who are just pushing stuff forward constantly. I don't know that there's anybody who does more for the ASMR community than GB does. So, tons of respect for her. I have tons of respect for like people like Karuna. You know, Karuna managed to make her channel her life, about her life, and is probably one of the most genuine ASMR artists out there, and will, like, you know, her heart is not just on her sleeve, but just like right in your face, you know. So there's a lot of reasons to like different ASMR artists. You know, it could be what they're doing, it could be what their voice sounds like, it could be what their dedication level is. It could be how funny they are, how creative they are. I mean, I still love Ephemeral Riff's videos. I will watch Tony Bomboni from time to time. I think he can be really funny. Let's see, who else? I mean, Heather Feather, obviously, right? Like for her, gentle whispering, their voices are just so good. Like, nope, I don't get tingles, but they really are able to relax me and calm me down and that kind of stuff. I assume this is a joke. I'm definitely a pessimist. I believe that the glass is half full of poison, to quote Eugene Thacker. I think Eugene Thacker. Let me be sure I'm not missing anything here. We're coming up on 2 hours, and oh, I got this right. Yeah, visual sounds ASMR is fantastic. I'm not sure why. Like, she deserves far more subscribers. Yeah, like I mentioned in the last live stream, I really like Jim Chi as well. 8 Nugget. Delete Hannah. Are you into any composers, any instrumentals that have caught your eye or help you in the production of your videos? I do listen to classical. However, generally I prefer a little more modern stuff when I'm using it to fuel me. And that, people were talking about Last of Us. I'll listen to Gustavo Santaolalla till the cows come home. So I really like his stuff. I'm really into Tangerine Dream and like that whole kind of 70s analog synth droney sound, stuff that you can just kind of zone out to and you don't realize how much time is passing. Atmosphere needs more love. I think she's blown up. That's just a matter of time. Weren't him and Ardra a thing? Well, it's still a thing. Ardra is this, so yeah, I'm biased because she's, a wonderful, beautiful, artistic human being. This is the video that I'm talking about. Yeah. So what? Search that. Okay. Like 3 minutes, winding down. I'm feeling tired. So here's what I will say. Yeah, Ephemeral Rift is like, not only is he creative, but like he really, like, he just keeps doing it. Like, he just keeps churning it out. I don't know how he does that. His work ethic is among the best out there. Yeah. So do I plan to do more of these streams? I really like them. I don't want to overdo it. Like, I'm waiting for a channel switcher. But the moment like quarantine happened, all the channel switchers are gone. You can't get one for love nor money. So they're on back order. the one that I wanted on back order has been on back order for over a month. If I can get a channel switcher, I'll probably do more of these. I don't want to wear this format out because I'm running out of things to say, or just talking about like depressing stuff all the time. Let's just randomly pull a. Okay, so E.M. Surian, Heights of Despair. Why should we not reconcile ourselves to the final triumph of non-being, to the thought that existence advances towards nothingness, and being towards non-being? Isn't non-being the last absolute reality? This is a challenging paradox of that world. Some religions maintain that God is trying us through suffering, or that we expiate evil and unbelief through suffering. If such an explanation can satisfy the religious man, it is not sufficient for anyone who notices that suffering is arbitrary and unjust, because the innocent often suffer the most. There's no valid justification for suffering. Suffering has no hierarchy of values. Life would really be impossible if the infinitude of feelings we harbor within ourselves were fully expressed in the lines of our faces. Man, I mean, like in a way, like some of this stuff is sophomoric stuff, juvenile in a way, but I feel like when people come to pessimism, they come to it early and young, right? And then they reject it, and they sort of come to it again. Maybe they reject it again, and then maybe they come to it a third time. I don't know. But I certainly read Nietzsche and Camus and the easier sort of existential philosophers when I was in high school. And, the more dense, more difficult things like Schopenhauer, I tried but failed. And it wasn't until much later that I came back to that. So anyway, I don't want to end on a downer. It has been 2 hours. Elizabeth Taylor, Amuse ASMR is the best voice I've ever heard. I will check her out, Elizabeth, because I'm always looking for. Yeah, it really is a lot of times just the voice that gets me. Jerry Joe Barker Love, thank you. I remember you from 2015. So. Some of these questions been asked already. Huh. Yeah, so if you have not seen the Sleep Like a Baby video, the second Sleep Like a Baby video, it is the gimmick in that video, which I often have gimmicks in videos, is that the baby is Trump, right? Not to get political, but near the end of the video, or near the end of the stream, and that being the case, maybe I should play us out. So this is, I'm going to play a little bit of what will be a duet with said person. We'll see. Okay. I'm a little disappointed. I got to say, none of you noticed my joke. I'm not disappointed. I love you all, but nobody called out that I saw that my one of my tabs here was how to hide a body. Okay. Thank you all for coming, by the way. So Ardra, SJ, we were trying to find a song we could play together, and the pandemic and stuff has made it so that we're not able to see each other right now. So this was her suggestion, and I'm doing it. But oh, you all noticed it? Everyone mentioned it? God, I'm sorry. So that is what I'm gonna say. Is that's one thing about this software, that it's hard to keep up with the comments. Okay, I'm glad you all saw it. I hope you got a little chuckle out of it. But yeah, this is supposed to be a duet, and will be at some point, hopefully with SJ. Huzzah. Got through it with a minimum of errors, but that song is called Malanga, if you're interested. Sorry for the squeaking and the way the mics are positioned here. One of them is pointed pretty much at the fretboard, which I wouldn't normally do if I were recording something like that. But anyway, so I hope that you all are all sleepy and tired as I am. And thank you for joining for another one of these live streams. And please, I mean, my most fervent wish is that you all are able to reach inside and find the strength that you need to get through this, and know that, there are countless others who are going through the same thing, which doesn't always help, right? Like, sometimes it can actually be worse, right? So, but I am very, very appreciative of all of you, and don't want anything bad to happen to any one of you. So, yeah, that's about it. Good night to everybody, and I hope you all sleep well. And I'll see you next time.